What's going on, everybody? It's Warning Track Power here with Between the Seams, where the analytics meets the stitch. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the 2026 and beyond Cincinnati Reds starting rotation, which is getting slept on by a lot of people, in my opinion. And if you saw the standings predictions on my main podcast, you will see that I have the Reds as my pick to win the NL Central, and this is one of the driving factors of it. Let's get into this rotation. You look up and down this rotation to be totally honest with me and tell me that this is not one of the best young rotations in the league. You can start it off your starting pitcher one, your ace, Hunter Greene. Go to Andrew Abbott, who was an all-star last year and he was actually eighth in Cy Young votes last year. You can go Nick Lodolo. Those are kind of their big three. But you also have 97 service time Chase Burns and Brady Singer, who's got the most on the current staff at 5 years. And then you scroll all the way to their farm system, and you see you have Rhett Lauder and Chase Petty, both of those guys who may be making their MLB debuts this year, and then Jose Franco, who they acquired as an amateur free agent from the Dominican Republic last October. This rotation is very, very good, and I am going to sort of get into why this is one of the best rotations, arguably, in baseball. We'll start off with Hunter Greene, the ace. I feel like there's no other way to go about this. Pulling up his baseball savant page, and while he's not really the most break-oriented pitcher, I mean, his split is just about average. His slider, once again, just about average, and his four-seam is, once again, slightly better than average on a break standpoint. But he is an absolute flamethrower. 99th percentile in fastball velo and 19th percentile in average exit velo, however, at 90.4. I see that going down. This is last year's percentile rankings, of course. The pitching run value at a 94th percentile, with the fastball run value being in the 97th percentile. Once again, I think this spring, Hunter Greene is going to have to work on his breaking balls, as his breaking ball run value is 77th percentile, and his off-speed run value, in other words, the splitter, and in the early of his career, a changeup, 8th percentile. It's not the best pitch, but his fastball slider combination gets the job done. As he only threw the split 11% of the time last year. It's 54% four seam, 35% slider, and heck, it works for the man. I mean, last year for Hunter Greene, obviously he was an all-star in 2024, not in 2025, but he still put up a 4.4 WAR. He only started 19 games, but in those 19 games, threw 107 and 2/3 innings, went 7-4 on the mound, one complete game, one shutout in those 19 games to a 2.76 earned run average. Now his FIP was a little higher, his fielding independent pitching at 3.27. But one of the things that I look at when I'm talking about a pitcher is their FIP. Are they getting lucky on defense? And really, when it's as close as that, you can't really say anything. I mean, a 166 ERA plus, 66 above in Cincinnati is really not that horrible. And once again, 11 strikeouts per nine last year with only a 2.2 walks per nine. That's a 5.08 strikeout to walk ratio. And he only walked 26 guys last year to 132 strikeouts. So he really is one of the more dominating pitchers, I think, in this sport. And he is going to have a nice and long career, I hope, if he can keep his arm healthy. Throws 100 miles per hour. He is going to be fun to watch. players like Hunter Green always are fun to watch. And that was just his 2025 metrics. You go back to his All-Star year where he was 8th in Cy Young, he struck out 169 batters in 150 innings to the tune of a 2.75 ERA. He had a 6.2 WAR, a wins above replacement. He went 9-5 on the mound in 26 starts. He only gave up a total of 12 home runs in that All-Star year, 15 last year. And his K per 9 was a little down in his All-Star season at only 10.1, which is still incredible stuff, and a 3.4 walk per 9 to it, which is a 2.96 strikeout to walk ratio. Obviously, it's not the same. It's a less ratio as his 2025 metrics, but he didn't throw as much in 2025, so what can you expect? I mean, Hunter Green has some serious potential to be the next dominating force of National League pitching, and one day he may get a $200 million plus contract as a pitcher, as he is just that good. And with only 4 years of service time, he's only got 2 more years left on the Reds, so 2026 and 2027. We'll see where he may end up going. I'm really not sure, to be perfectly honest. Debuted in 2022 and really wasn't even that bad for his rookie year, where he started 24 games. Comes out, started 22, and then 26 in his All-Star year. 19 last year, which he did have an injury, but hopefully for him, he just comes back with even more firepower this year. And another thing that I want to point out about Hunter Green is that his opponent batting average in 2024 and 2025, 183 and 192. Opponents are slugging 368 off him last year and 388 in his whole career. And their on-base percentage at a .294 for his whole career, bringing his OPS to a .8682. And his BABIP, batting average on balls in play, at a .275 against. He punches out batters. He has a 32.9% career ground ball rate, 33.8% fly ball rate, and a 22.6% line drive rate. His ground ball to fly ball ratio is a 0.5. Why is that relevant? Well, if you're punching out a lot of guys, 0.5 is pretty dang good for your fly ball ground ball ratio. You're trying to get as many outs as possible, and the less balls are going up in the air, especially in Cincinnati, which is a very hitter-friendly ballpark, you're looking at a guy who could be your ace for the next few years. I mean, people strike out against this dude 30% of the time and only walk 8.7% of the time. You cannot be mad at that. It is impossible to be mad at that. So the next guy I want to talk about, and the likely number 2 starter for the Cincinnati Reds, and their third guy of their really trifecta, the first lefty, Andrew Abbott. He only has about 2 years of service time, so he's got 4 years left of team control. Fangraphs I don't really like the Fangraphs projections, to be honest, but they have him projected at a 4.17 ERA and a 2.7 wins above replacement in 164 innings and making 29 starts, which, to be honest, I don't really agree with, and I'm going to go based on that right now. 2023, his rookie year, he went 8-6 with a 3.87 ERA. All right, he threw 109 innings. 2024, he goes 10-10, but with a 3.72 ERA in 25 starts and 138 innings. And in 2025, he's an all-star. He's 8th in Cy Young voting. He starts 29 games, he goes 10-7 with a 5.6 WAR and a 2.87 ERA. The problem, and I think why Fangraphs has him at that 4 ERA mark, is because of his FIP. And I think with that FIP being at a 3.66 last year, does it make sense? Not really. But then the year before, 2024, it's a 5.04. And then the year before that, a 4.20. Do I think that this is going to hurt Andrew Abbott? Not really. Because you look at his percentile rankings from 2025, let alone he is a 5-pitch pitcher, right? Anytime you have 5 offerings, that's just so much more for a hitter to keep track of. You can start off a game pounding 4 seams and changeups to lefties and 4 seams and curves to righties, and then all of a sudden you just perform a switch and now you're throwing a 4-seam sweeper and cutter, and you're just basically ditching the curveball and the changeup. So now they haven't seen pretty much any of that. So it's always a benefit to have 5 pitches. His changeup has an inch more of tail versus other left-handed pitchers, but his changeup doesn't drop as much. 5 inches less than average on the drop. But that's just his changeup. His 4-seam has an inch more of tail and about 0.5 of an inch more of rise, which is fine because his fastball run value is at a 90 percentile. Same thing with his pitching run value, also in the 90th percentile. He is also featuring that curveball, which once again doesn't drop as much as the average left-handed pitcher, but it breaks 2.2 more inches horizontally than other left-handed pitchers. It's the same thing with the sweeper, same case, and the cutter, which he only throws 4% of the time last year, just about a league average pitch. However, the thing that is scariest about Andrew Abbott last year was not the fact that he has 79th percentile in walk rate. That's fine. The fact that his hard hit rate is a 33.7%, which means only 33.7% of the time, which gives him 93rd percentile on the hard hit rate. That is the amount of times that opponents are hitting the ball hard. Not getting hits, not any of that. Hitting the ball hard. You look at last year's numbers, an 8.1 strikeouts per 9. He has a career 8.3 strikeouts per 9. But once again, he doesn't walk people. His walks per 9 are 2.3. I mean, the strikeout walk ratio for his career is 2.76. And when it basically mirrors your ERA, that's pretty good for a pitcher. Now, obviously, you look at the 8th in NL Cy Young vote last year. You got to think, there's got to be something else here. I mean, ground ball fly ball is 0.47. It's a ground ball fly ball rate. The 33.7 hard hit rate is unbelievably good. The BABIP, the batting average on balls in play, their opponents are hitting 276 for that. Their batting average 235 against him. Their OPS is a .69 against him. And really, Andrew Abbott is one of the pitchers that I see having another really good year. I don't think 8th in Cy Young again, but because obviously he's a young pitcher who's only pitched for 3 years, doesn't even have the full year's worth of service time. But really, Andrew Abbott is going to be a guy to watch. He's going to get you ground balls. He's going to get you the weak contact. And in Cincinnati, like I said earlier with Hunter Green, it is not notorious for being a pitcher's ballpark. And I will leave Abbott off on that note. The next guy I want to talk about, and the guy that rounds out that trifecta of young arms that are somewhat proven in the league already is Nick Lodolo. He has 4 years of MLB service time, lefty, 28 years old. And once again, with Lodolo, this guy can just eat you alive on the break. He has 94th percentile in off-speed run value, so his changeup is absolutely lethal. It breaks almost 3 inches more of tail and 3.4 inches more drop versus the average left-handed pitcher's changeups. Absolutely disgusting. And he really equally shares all 4 of his pitches. I mean, 22% on the change, 22% on the sinker, 28% on the four seam, 29% on the curveball. And looking at his movement chart, his four seam has 8.7 inches of more tail than the average left-handed pitcher. But it has 6.6 inches less of rise than a left-handed pitcher. So it is just horizontal everything. And looking at his movement chart, Lodolo, the rise is the issue. The drop is not. Drop all day, every day. Tail all day, every day. Look at the sinker. Sinker's got 3.3 inches more of tail and 1.6 more of drop. And then he throws the curveball. The curveball is really, it's kind of, I argue, a league average pitch. Yet at the same time, at 82 miles per hour, it's dropping 9.6 inches less than the average left-handed pitcher. And only breaking about an inch more than the average left-handed pitcher. It is so incredibly effective because it is his only offering that moves towards a righty and away from a lefty. It is the only one that does that. His arm angle is 15 degrees. So he is throwing these curveballs, and they are just sweeping straight across the plate and coming down just a little bit, and you're just contemplating everything at that point. The sinker and change and fastball, they're all basically like right on his arm, and they're all first base towards. He just doesn't walk people either. 4.8% walk rate with a 32.8% chase rate. That is swinging and missing on a pitch outside the strike zone. And honestly, as a young pitcher, Lodolo is projected to have a 3.93 ERA in 149 innings next year. Really, last year's numbers, a 3.33 ERA with a 3.81 FIP, 137 ERA plus, 100 is league average, by the way. Like, you look at his strikeouts per 9, and although he's not really the biggest of strikeout pitchers, he had a 9 strikeouts per 9 last year, and his career, he's got 10 strikeouts per 9. And he does not walk people either with a 2.6 career walks per 9, and a career 1.2 whip is telling me that he does not give up a lot of walks and hits in an inning at all. He throws, other than that 2023 season where he was hurt, he's thrown 103, 115, and 156 innings in his other seasons. He was 6th in Rookie of the Year. He's never made an All-Star team, but maybe this is the first year that he is able to do it. His strikeout to walk ratio is a 5.03 last year, which is some mythical stuff. Opponents are only hitting .243 against him with an OPS of 725. So they've been able to kind of slug a little bit, and that's what's saving the OPS in past years. But the batting average on balls in play is a 2.79, and they're striking out and not walking. The hard hit rate is 40.9%, which is a little higher than Abbott's, but really nothing to be too concerned about. And really, Nick Lodolo is one of those guys that you're going to look at in a couple of years and be like, this guy is a very solid number 2 starter option. I don't think he's ever going to have that ace. I don't think he has ace level potential, unlike this next guy that I'm going to talk about. But I think he is very much ready to be the number 2 starter. I think that does go to Abbott at this point. But Lodolo for the 3 right now, 2 starter in the future. I mean, if he goes to a bad team, then maybe he is the one, and that's still not a bad ace to have. So I'm going to move on to a guy who made his debut last year and was kind of up and down. He had some really high highs and some really low lows. And that guy is Chase Burns. I think Chase Burns has the stuff to be a future ace. I mean, if you look at his college stats, he has the NCAA record for strikeouts in a season if Paul Skeens didn't exist, so he is in second. In his 1 year at the big league level, he put up a 0.2 WAR, but he started 8 games and then came out of the bullpen for the other 5. He threw 41 and a third innings. In that time, a 101 ERA plus, so he was just about a league average pitcher last year, but a 2.1, 2.65 FIP to a 4.57 ERA. What does that tell me? Tells me that he was getting screwed over by his defense last year. Now, opponents only hit 240 against him, but they hit 364 on balls in play, and he had a 45.7 hard hit rate. Really, you just got to learn to keep away ball in the ground, just keep things under control. He has that overpowering 100-mile-per-hour fastball. I mean, and he probably needs to mix his pitches a little more. 58% four-seam, 34% slider last year, 6% change, 2% curve, 1% sinker. And really, like, the break numbers, he's kind of just got to figure it out. I mean, the four-seam rises 2 inches more than the average righty. The slider is better than average pitchers, but really, he is not qualified in basically every percentile ranking except fastball, velo, and extension. Extension, 6.4% is 47th percentile, but fastball velo at 98.7 as the average puts him in the 97th percentile of MLB starters. So I really think that Chase Burns is going to be a future ace, and he just kind of got to figure it out because he had 43 and a third innings pitched. He struck out 67 batters in that time. Jokes out in the comments. So I think Chase Burns is going to be a Cy Young candidate someday, no doubt. I don't think that is this next year, but I think he's going to have a very solid season. And just a little look at some of the guys that the Reds have on the farm system. Obviously, you got guys like Rhett Lauder, who made their debut for Cincinnati last year. You have Rhett Lauder. He's pre-arbitration. He's still got 3 minor league options left. He's going to be a free agent in 2031. And really, I mean, he only started 6 games last year, threw 30 innings. But in that time, he had a 17.2% K rate to a 10.9% walk rate, but a 38.5% ground ball rate in 2024. At the MLB level, he really hasn't shown the most, able to control the ball with that high walk rate. But if he learns how to control the ball, he's got the stuff to be able to be very, very effective. They also have Chase Petty, and Chase Petty is one of the guys that they acquired. They acquired him from Minnesota. He's not made his major league debut last year, but in that time, he really was not good. I mean, he started 2 games, he pitched in 3 games. He threw a total of 6 innings for the Reds. And in that time, 17.5% strikeout rate, 20% walk rate. He walked more batters than he struck out last year. But then again, the sample size is just way too small for Chase Petty. We can't really make too many assumptions on him. Only 22 years old, so he will be come April 23, but I'm not concerned at all with Chase Petty's future. The question about the Reds that I have is, are they trying to protect their young arms with a 6-man rotation? If so, what does that look like? Specifically protecting the young arms like Hunter Greene, Nick Lodolo, and Chase Burns, and Andrew Abbott. I think Greene is the 1, Abbott's the 2, Lodolo's the 3, Burns is the 4. And maybe you're including a Brady Singer in that as well, who's a proven vet in 5 years of service, and maybe there's a chance that you put Rhett Lauder or Chase Petty in the starting rotation next year. If I had my pick, I would probably pick Rhett Lauder, to be perfectly honest, as I think he's got the greater potential. But regardless, this has been the first Between the Seams, where the analytics meets the stitch. I will see you guys on the next one. And please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed.